Hey guys, Shell Collins here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about PicMonkey. I've had a lot of interest and requests and things like that for people that are looking for Facebook cover page backgrounds or tips on how to create a 30-day ad and so forth. And I just wanted to let you know that even though I have a designer background, it doesn't mean that you have to be a graphic designer to be able to put an ad or your Facebook cover page together. And some of you, I'm seeing some of your Facebook cover pages come together and you guys are doing really great. You'll get better. And simplicity is key. Keeping things super, super simple. Simple text, not overcrowding it with images or too many fonts is recommended. And just have fun with it. And like I said, keep it simple. If you've got professional shots, professional photos, those are always the best. Use professional photography. And you don't have to be a professional photographer to do some of those photos on your page either. Sometimes we as a family, we will set up the tripod and we'll set the timer on my camera and I'll stage everybody, and it doesn't always go as planned. So the good thing is in our digital age, we can take multiple shots and you can thumb through. That's the key, and that's the lesson of it all, is to take a bunch of pictures, a bunch of action shots, a bunch of photos, and chances are a couple of those are going to be awesome and exactly what you're looking for. So don't be afraid to hit play on that camera and take 100 different angles, 100 different posts. Everybody has a better side. So if you have a better angle on camera, make sure that you're standing and you're posing the way that you feel confident and comfortable in that shot. And stage your kids. Look for ideas online. Look for ideas for imagery and photography tips. You can look that up on the internet and get tips on how to pose, what colors to wear. Solid prints are always a better choice, but it doesn't mean you can't use patterns. Certain colors are better. Blues are really camera friendly. So I had a photographer friend tell me that orange was a horrible color, and I had tied it in with navy blue for some of my children's pictures. My husband was deployed, and so it was fall and we went downtown. I was actually in New Bern at the time in North Carolina, and somehow we pulled it off. And my son had an orange shirt on, but he had a little blue collared shirt underneath, and then my other son was wearing blue. And orange isn't super camera friendly, but it worked. And I think just pulling it in, it was navy mixed with subtle print and just touches. And also, one of the things that I really love is black and white. I'm a big fan of black and white photography. I just love that. And so black and white is a good approach to go on your cover page too. You can see that on my profile page. I have a black and white photo that I have on there. And just I've kept it super, super simple. But I'm going to share my screen here and show you guys a little bit on PicMonkey, because I know there's been a ton of interest in you being able to create your own Facebook cover page without having to hire a designer to do it, without having to outsource it. I know as a new coach, it can feel really heavy on your shoulder to have all of these responsibilities. And I just want to take that stress off your plate and to let you know that it's okay to not know what you're doing in the beginning as a new coach. Gosh, I've been a coach for 3 years, and sometimes I'm still doing circles. I'm not a diamond coach. I'm rebuilding my business, and it's okay. You guys, you jump in this and you go at your own pace. That's what's awesome about this. But try to stay consistent and try to show up. And that's the same thing that's true with your social media and your brand. And so when you're going into PicMonkey, if you guys click on design, now I do pay for the annual membership. It's like $30, and it's totally worth it because then it gives you access to extra fonts and things like that in the program. But if you click on Facebook cover, it's going to pull this up, and I'm just going to show you how simple it is to navigate through here. Now, right over here on the left, it will show you these little icons, and it will show you different categories. If you want to update or enhance your photos or anything like that, or do any effects. I don't really do much. I don't really try to enhance any features or anything like that, because I want people to be able to relate to me. And, you know, I'm kind of a what you see is what you get kind of person. And I don't want to have to put on all this fake stuff that people don't, you know, that they're not going to see that on me. And that's not true to who I am. And I'm not being authentic to my brand. So I really try not to edit features and things like that. So, you know, if you have a blemish or something that you want to take out, that's fine. And if you want to do those, that's not who my brand is. But you can do text. You can click on the text icon here, overlays. I use the text frequently, the overlays. I don't really use the frames that much. Sometimes it can get a little overcrowded, or it can just be a little too much, or it can kind of feel clip art-ish and not represent, it doesn't really represent you as a brand. And then these are different textures that you can add to your image if you want to, you know, sometimes you see those spotlights that, you know, some of the coaches, I think one of the Bombshell coaches has some spotlight things, and those are kind of cool. It's kind of fun to kind of add that to your images. And then here's backgrounds. I've used some of these for the weekly focus forecast. I've done some of those in the past. And, you know, if we want it themed for New Year's or Valentine's Day, or back to school, and, you know, you've got all these backgrounds in here. It will create your background on your page, and you can click through here. Let's see if I have a background. These are more overlay type things. That's going to go more on over your picture. But I've used these little sparkle stars a lot on my page. Hence, my team's name is Sparkle Empire, so that works for my brand. You know, fireworks, if you want to add fireworks in the background of your image up here in the background, you can do that. But clicking right here on the butterfly, this is kind of a go-to for me. I really like just using the simplicity of shapes. Anyone that knows me knows that I love chevron, and so that's going to be incorporated into my page for sure. But it doesn't mean that's what you have to use. You know, when you buy something and you naturally lean towards something when you're shopping for a shirt, or you're shopping for sheets for your office or file folders, or, you know, are you drawn to pattern? Are you drawn to a certain shape? You know, are you a circles type person? Are you a square type person? I know for me, I'm definitely more of a straight line. I'm not a big curly Q type person. So like you'll see in my house, a lot of my stuff is very straight line, kind of modern, but cozy at the same time. So it's not ultra modern, but all of my stuff is just kind of very straight line. And so that is what I want to incorporate into my brand, because that's what I like. So if you're a circle person, if you buy a new rug for your living room and it has circles on it, then you probably are more drawn to seeing circular images. And so incorporate that into your brand and make that you. Chevron is definitely something that I incorporate into my brand, because everyone knows that that's something that I really like. But I'm going to just create some chevrons here. And I'm just going to make them a little bit bigger. I mean, you can go as big as you want. I'm going to copy and paste so I can just do a few. And if you want to, you can use your arrows to kind of straighten it out. And I try to just make sure that they're straight and try to make sure that the points are on. And the spacing right here, the space in between, just try to make sure that it looks, you know, about the same to your eye. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but a good design has things that are they're fairly even. It doesn't necessarily have to be symmetrical, but maybe you're a symmetrical person and you have to have the same that's on one side and the same that's on the other. The artsy person in me doesn't have to have symmetry. But I'm going to bring in, I'm going to click on the arrow right there and close that box. But these are all different shapes and things that you can do. And but you click up here on your own. And I'm going to bring in an image. Let's see. Let's say I've got, this is a background image that I've used before. And I just want to, I don't know where the other photo is of this particular photo right here. I switched laptops within the last few months, so I haven't transferred everything from my other laptop yet. So not all of my photos are over here. But I just want to use that image and not use that background. And this picture is actually not super clear, but I have used it. Now this is a photo that we staged when I lived in Pensacola, and this is on our front porch. We had a fairly large porch, and there was this really cool brick over there. And so I just set up the tripod and made sure the lighting was right. And we stood in front of that brick, and my husband was in some of the shots too. We stood in front of that brick and we made Christmas card photos. And I didn't pay anybody. We just did it ourselves. And my husband was the one that was actually taking those. I just had to give him a little bit of direction. And we pulled it off, and it worked really great. So again, this one isn't the best quality. I'm a little more particular when it comes to shots than my husband, so he didn't really know to look for taking something that wasn't blurry and really focusing in on that image. So, but this just kind of shows you right here that, you know, that was part of an image that was another background photo, but you can just apply it and post it right here and make it work however you want to do it. I'm going to add, I think, you can add in another chevron right here, and you want to fill up all that space, and you just want to keep it totally simple. And maybe if on this image over here, you know, if I would have taken this image and I had more space on that wall, then that brick wall could have been my blank space to add text. So it gets kind of busy if you're going to try to add text on top of your actual image, because then it's going to be distracting. You want a focal point so that people know where to follow. But I'm going to remove this image, and I'm just going to add in this one since I always default to black and white. I'm going to delete one of my chevrons. And then I'm just going to blow this picture up. Now, these were professional pictures we had done when my husband had gotten back from his last deployment. And this one's just kind of a cool, versatile shot that we can use. And I've used it on, I think it's actually on my personal profile page. But, you know, if you want to add color to the chevron, you can go here and you can add, like I use teal and purple a lot on my page. So if I want to use purple or teal, you can kind of go through and get the exact shade that you want. I'm just going to do teal. And say I want that same color teal to be over here, but I don't want to move that chevron because it's in the right spot. We'll click on this one, the one that's already teal. And over here on your overlay palette, you can see right here it says color, and then it gives you this number. And hit copy, Command C on an Apple. And then you can click on this chevron right here, and then go back to your palette highlight that number and hit paste, which would be Command V, and then hit enter. And then that's going to make your chevron the same color. So again, you don't have to use chevrons. That's just kind of my thing. But if you just want to kind of, the one thing I know that it won't let you do on PicMonkey is highlight, copy, and drag more than one item. But right here, I've got just a subtle color of teal. And then maybe I want to bring in more teal over here. However you want to do it. You can play around with it. Or maybe I just don't want to include any chevron and I want to keep my page totally simple and just keep it real plain. You can do that too. So you can just enlarge and move your photo around. Try not to cut the top of your heads off when you're placing your images. If you have to cut anywhere, try to cut from below so that you're not cutting your heads off in the image. You see, that kind of shows you where it just looks kind of funny. And then, so over here, you can add in some text. And I really like the sketch block text. So I'm going to do it all caps: family, freedom, faith, oops, fitness, and I'll just enlarge that over here. If you want to keep your page super simple and super clean. If you want more of a cleaner, or you want to do something a little more, which I've got that font in all caps, so it's going to look different on some of the fonts if they're all lowercase too. I'll show you right here. Family. And so you can just do different fonts and kind of play around with what you like. My recommendation would be to not use any more than 2 different fonts. You can use a script type font and then something that has a straighter line, but try to keep it clean. Try not to use 2 script type fonts. Maybe you use like something like Arial or something, whatever, Helvetica, whatever font you have. You want to use something that's a little bit straighter, a serif or a sans serif, if you're familiar with fonts. And then you can use that with the script. So for example, like I've got that script right here. And then if I want to put a subtitle under here, where women grow, this one's actually a really good, I really like that font. So if you want to do the subheading underneath it a little bit more straight, and then you can make that a little bit smaller and then have that as your subheading. And then you can take that out of that text box so that you can make that font a little bit closer. But you have to create a new text box if you copy and paste that text out of that box. You have to have somewhere to paste that text. So I just created a new text box and then pasted that text right there. So this could be a little bit bigger, but if you want to put, like my page is Shell Collins Fitness and Nutrition. So, if you want to put Shell Collins Fitness and Nutrition, or just Shell Collins Fitness. But people can see that too. They can see that on your page. So it may not necessarily be necessary to add, and I keep spelling it wrong. My fingers are faster. um, so, you know, like this font right here, you can make this bigger. I really like that font a lot. It's really pretty and just delicate. Um, freedom, you know, whatever your title is, whatever your message is trying to, whatever you want to draw people in on your page. And that's how you should come up with your title. And you don't have to have a team name to create a page or to have artwork. You know, you can just put faith, family, fitness, and nutrition, or whatever your message is, whatever it means. I know freedom is really a big word for us, and that's something that really helps me stay on track, and it's really helped me nutrition wise and stuff lately, because whenever I go to get something that's not good for my body, I instantly get that word freedom in my head, and it brings me back to my why. And, you know, we moved here from Pensacola. My husband just transferred out of the Marine Corps into an early retirement. And it's been a huge change for us as a family. And so freedom is kind of a constant reminder on why this business is so important to me and why I'm helping people. And so whatever it is that brings you to your knees, or it makes you want to push harder every single day, try to incorporate that into your brand. And then your fonts, you want them to be legible, but you don't want them to be huge either. This could actually go a little bit bigger. But the thing that I want you to know too is with PicMonkey, you don't have to be a designer to be able to do this, okay? You don't have to be a designer to be able to create your own artwork. Having good fonts, and you know, you can research it on the internet too, how to match up fonts, or you can ask me and I'll help you. But try not to do any more than 2 fonts, and try not to go too crazy, like I said, with 2 scripts and make them clash. You want it to be clean and crisp. And images, your photography is really 100% the most important part of your page in creating an image and branding yourself. So work on your photography, work on your lighting when you take pictures. When you take pictures of yourself, and if you're going to do it outside, I love outside pictures. They're always the best. So if you've got a space outdoors, you can use a brick wall, an old barn. Just check your surroundings and make sure there's not a lot of stuff in the background, because you don't want a fire hydrant in your professional shot. So pay attention to what's surrounding. And also, if you're going to do it inside and you have a plain wall, save some space, or even outside. You know, if you're doing it in front of a barn door or something, leave space on the side so that you guys can add text and that you can have versatility to those images, and you guys can use those pictures for multiple projects. And, you know, you can take that image that you've worked so hard on, and you can use that for a 30-day challenge, or you can use it in your promotional stuff. So any of your branding, then you guys will have that. And one thing too, another trick is to, if you're just doing a headshot or something, change your shirt. And that way it doesn't look like it's the same theme. And then you can use some of those images over and have multiple things to choose from. So that way you're not just stuck with a purple shirt. And then, you know, you kind of feel like that was all the same day. And, you know, maybe put some earrings on, depending on what kind of look you're trying to do. So good luck with it. And if you guys have any questions in PicMonkey, it is not hard to use. So don't be afraid to just dive into it and kind of play around with it. And you can also, you can add different textures and stuff too to your images. Like if I wanted to add water and stuff like that. And let's see, or a brick. You know, I mean, you can create your own brick. It's kind of cool. So play around in this, and again, there's tutorials and stuff in PicMonkey that will show you how to use it. But if you have any specific questions, feel free to comment below or send me a private message and I'll be glad to help you. If you've got some awesome photography and you don't know what to do with it, message me and I'll help you. You want to make sure that your images are high resolution too. So that first image that I put in of me and the boys that my husband had taken, I love that shot, but it's a little blurry. And so it's not, if it's not crisp and clear, like this image is really crisp and clear, people want to be able to see you. You are your own brand. So make sure that they can see you and they can relate to you. So again, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm glad to help. Okay. Bye, y'all.